Good evening, everyone, and good evening to yourself, Gonzo. How is one?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. You enjoying international break?
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's a
I
lie. Because
no, I
England are
did.
playing tonight, you're not watching it, you liar.
Well, I'm enjoying the break from international football. I thought
Oh,
that's what you meant.
oh.
I was just about to say I watched 15 minutes of the other game, if that. So yeah, I've not really been that involved in it, so I'm not that bothered. Friendlies. Quite liked the old whatever it was, the Nations League or whatever. I thought that was a good way to sort of juice up friendlies. But there we are, back with friendlies again. I'm not interested at all.
Yeah, I have to agree, actually. You know, I like my international football, but I'm not that fussed for it. Obviously, Scotland played on Thursday. They're playing again tonight against Austria. But we were meant to play Ukraine in the playoff for the World Cup, and I understand the reasons why we aren't, but for months we were looking forward to it. It was a big occasion. It was a chance against the World Cup final, and then it's sort of been postponed until June. So we've got friendlies in place. We played Poland on Thursday in place of it. It's just not quite the same, is it? But anyway, international break is nearly over, which means West Ham are nearly back, Gonzo. And I thought we could take this evening as an occasion to have a little prediction as to how we think the rest of the season is going to go. Obviously, it's the home run now, isn't it? 8 Premier League games to go. A minimum of 2 Europa League games, possibly 4, possibly 5.
Yeah, I like it.
Are you Googling the Premier League table?
No, I know the tables, the fixtures. I just want to obviously I know the immediate ones. Okay, bring it on. Oh, blimey. Some easy, some not. Yeah, okay. I was going to say let rip. That means something else, really, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Definitely
don't
let rip. No, don't let rip.
Don't do that.
No.
But anyway, let's start with the Premier League and we'll talk about Europa League. Premier League, though, we're sitting 7th at the minute. Got a few points between us and Wolves, but it feels like that defeat against Tottenham was quite a big one, really, wasn't it? It was a big win for Spurs, and it almost makes us. I feel like we're destined to finish 7th almost. That I feel like Wolves probably won't catch us. I'm not too sure we'll catch anyone above us either. It almost feels like, even though there's 8 games to go, I feel like we're destined to finish 7th in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest factors that's really out of our control is actually Harry Kane. So I would like to blame most of West Ham's woes on Harry Kane because Tottenham were plodding along, just lovely, really. Being also Rans having a crap old season. Kane was having a sulk up because he didn't get his transfer. And Conte's got a tune out of him. Maybe I blame Conte, whatever. And I feel that more than anything is going to be a bit of a kick in the teeth. I wouldn't say 6th has gone, though,
No.
because I still think they've got a dip in them. And it's hard when they play that well with Kane playing that well. Take Kane out of that equation, and I think then there's almost nothing between what our form could be for the remainder of the season, what Tottenham's form could be for the remainder of the season. With Kane in there, I think they'll better us. One team I'm not convinced will better us between now and the end of the season is Man United. There's a lot of imponderable things going on there, whether it's the manager, the recruitment of a new manager, the Harry Maguire, Marcus Rashford, Cristiano Ronaldo is on the defensive almost all the time. Then you've got Paul Pogba lifting up his skirt and flashing his knickers at absolutely anybody who's willing to recruit a football player in the summer window. So there's a dynamic there which could make their form peter off, but obviously ours is going to have to be really good, and we're going to have to pick up a couple of results that maybe we wouldn't expect.
Yeah, I agree with the Man United thing, actually. It just never seems like a happy camp, though, does it? And now they're out the Champions League. I think, if anything, I think Arsenal going on a winning streak could do West Ham a bit of a favour because you almost want Man United to give up hope of finishing 4th. At the minute, they've still got a little bit of we can get Champions League football here. I want that hope taken away from them. So we could do with Arsenal winning the next 3-4 games. And they probably need to. Arsenal have got 3 winnable fixtures, and then they go into a really difficult run themselves against they play Man United as well, actually. So they really need to pick up 9 points in the next 3 games. I can't remember the 3 off the top of my head. I think it goes something like Palace, Watford, and then someone else in Brighton or something like that. They've got 3 like mid-table teams coming up, and then they hit a really tough run. But they could get 9 points. Just says to Man United, you ain't getting Champions League, bugger off. It just disheartens them a little bit. And I think the difference between Man U and West Ham at the moment is it feels like for the last couple of months we've been looking over our shoulders a little bit. Oh crap, Man United's there, Tottenham's there. Now they've overtaken us. We're now looking up again. We're now thinking, can we catch you? I think it's the pressure's now on the likes of Man U, but Man U will be looking up at Arsenal. I don't think they'll be too bothered by what's behind them, and I think that could then catch them a little bit. I often wonder if when it comes to players like Pogba and Ronaldo, are they that bothered about the Europa League? I often get the impression it's like Champions League or nothing for them. We're not too bothered with the Europa League. It's a nothing competition to us because we're used to Champions League football. Whereas West Ham, it's not that, is it? Europa League's a big deal to us, but I just don't think it's a motivation for Man U. So, I could see us catching Man U, but I think top 6 is still there, but I think 7th is the most likely of finishes for us, which would be a good season, I guess, Gonzo. Or would you see it as a bit of a disappointment given where we were in January, 4th, with a transfer window?
Yes, you put January into the equation. Just before we go on to that, Man United's running is not good for them. By the way, not good at all. They've got to play Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea. In fact, they've got a load of difficult games, and they play Everton as well. So, but we've with regard to taking the context of January into it, absolutely. Remove that from it. If we to finish 6th and then 7th, and then take into account a really good European run, I would say they're for a club of West Ham size, they're back-to-back sensational seasons. Actually, there's context in both, isn't there? If you want to apply the context of what's it like to be West Ham 6th and 7th European Cup run, the context of that makes it brilliant. Take that context away, apply the context of we were in 4th, we could have strengthened, should have strengthened, then it doesn't look quite so clever. But would I take it? I wouldn't take it now. I know you didn't even ask that question. I'm imagining you did ask that question. I wouldn't take it now. I wouldn't take it, I've got to say.
Yeah, I agree with you. Start the season, 7th. I've been happy with that. That's progress. I know it's not quite 6, but it's still progress to be 6th and 7th. 2 years on the bench is fantastic. But you offered it to me in January, I probably wouldn't have been happy with that. I thought, we slid down the table quite a bit. How we managed going from 4th to 7th? But the grand scheme of things, it's really good. But let's turn our attention. Well, give us a prediction then. I'm saying we're finishing 7th. Are you saying we're finishing 7th above or dropping to 8th?
I might have a sneaky 6th.
Going to go for a sneaky 6. I like that. Yeah, I'm over for a sneaky 6. Now, let's turn our attentions to the Europa League then. I mean, 7th, as it stands, will likely get European football because as long as Crystal Palace don't win the FA Cup, 7th gets the Europa Conference League and 6th gets the Europa League. So 7th is likely to be some form of European football. I'm happy with that. Now, Europa League time. Lyon's coming up, Gonzo. We're going to do it. Not just Lyon, the competition.
I think not. I think Lyon will be tougher than we expect in many. I think it's a bit like that, like a series of hills, if you like. We got out Sevilla, and we think it's going to be like that. And hold on, there's another one there. They might be more tricky than we imagined. They're not doing well in the domestically at the moment. Well, no, actually they're not, because to be fair, if you're not second, forget first in France. If you're not second, you might as well forget it. And I think they were, last time I looked, they were in 10th or something like that. It may have changed. That being said, they've had some good results and good performances against English teams as well. I'm thinking Man City, quite possibly. They played well against Man City. They're going to have good players. They've got, the French Academy, Clairefontaine, I believe that's their academy. They produce good technical players. Is that not it?
I'm more impressed that you know it. How do you even know that?
Well, that's where it was. It was Gerard Houllier, wasn't it? It was one of the people that set that up, and that's where since then they've all come from. Conveyor belt, Thierry Henry, and all since. Pogba would have been through there. It's their St George's Park, if you like, but it's a bit more successful. Particularly as it's yielded a couple of or 3 major trophies, hasn't it, since they built it? So good technical players is my point from France. They scout well, and I think it might be tougher than we think. But there's a renaissance from Barcelona at the moment, who have got some investment, changed the manager, and they're looking like a very formidable and changed club. And I was going to say team, but it is actually club. They were being punished at the start of the season financially. I'd say they've got some financial backing in. It's funny, isn't it? How the old saying, "One man's poison," and all the rest of it. How they've got Aubameyang in, and it seems to have done both clubs a favour, really, which is a rare transfer indeed. I would have fancied us earlier on in the season. I thought if we'd have come up against Barcelona, I think we would have whooped them. I just think we'd have had too much intensity. I don't want to face them at the moment, has to be said.
Yeah, fresh fielder, putting a bit of context, a bit of a downer really for me. It says Leon have only lost 3 in the last 18, just 4 points off European qualification to the league. Don't be fooled by 10.
Yeah, fair point.
I'll be honest with you. I don't feel them anywhere near as much as Sevilla. I know I should. It's the quarterfinals and stuff. But I still think at the time of the draw, I think Barcelona, like you said, have started to play a lot better now. And they've also got that rugby player from Wolverhampton as well. But at the time when the draw was made, Sevilla was one team I did not want. We've put them out now. I'm not going to change my tune now because we're against Leon. I'm going to think, actually, Leon are the most difficult. No. Sevilla were the most difficult team that we could have got. So I think we've put the favourites out myself. I still believe that. But it will be difficult. Of course it will. But every game we could be playing Rangers, a team that we know we're better than on paper. We know we have the 11 best players on the pitch. We'd still say, it's going to be a difficult game. Yeah. Of course it is. It's Europa League quarterfinal. There's no easy ones. But I'm still confident. I still expect us to be in the semi-final. Barcelona or Frankfurt would await us. That would be tougher. I fear them too, more than, including Frankfurt. I fear Frankfurt more than Leon, regardless of what stage of the tournament we're at here, before we even take in the consideration that it's a semi-final. So I'm confident that we'll make it through to the semis. Either of those two teams still will worry me, but you got to fancy us. How do you fancy us to win the whole thing? You're coming across as quite wary. I understand why, but give us a prediction. What you're saying?
I think if we met Barcelona in the semis, we would lose over 2 legs. It has to be said. But I mean, I'm not counting on us getting from the semis. That would not surprise me at all to go out against Leon. It would not surprise me at all. That being said, I think we've been unlucky and naive and honest this season, which has contributed to times in the season where we've been fatigued and other teams haven't. So I think we've been a little bit too honest with the COVID stuff when there were some unnamed clubs,
Newcastle,
zebra coloured clubs who might have played the game and been a bit dishonest and put themselves in an advantageous position where we didn't. And so I think that's that didn't help us. I think a bit of poor luck and also poor planning came into what you saw with the Tottenham game, which is we just were not set up to play extra time European competition on a Thursday night, then play the following weekend. Naivety because we didn't strengthen, and it was. I would back us with a fit team against Tottenham with our best 11 players on there. I think we give them a game, regardless of Harry Kane or anyone else. I think those two things didn't fall for us. But I think this international break has really helped us. This really suits a small squad. So it enables us to get people back. Hopefully we can get Bowen back. And that will gives him options off the bench. And if he's got options off the bench, then we can do something. But I'll tell you something, even if we did get to the semi-finals, it would be a huge and momentous occasion for West Ham. But one thing I would say, if we got to the semi-finals, there's one man that wouldn't be thinking, that's it, it's all over, and that'd be David Moyes. Because David Moyes is taking every game seriously. He thinks we can win every game. And I wouldn't. And we laughed at him when he came in his press conference. I was going to say his first press conference. He's his second press conference, if you like. And he said, I'm a winner and I win football matches. And actually, I wouldn't change that in him. I want him to go into every game thinking he can win it, because sometimes he gets it right and sometimes he gets it wrong. I think he'd fancy his chances against Barcelona. Of course, I think he may well, possibly his only decent result when he was manager in Spain. I think he got a win with Real Sociedad against Barcelona when Messi was absolutely purring. So he'll fancy it.
I think he won 4-3. I think they won that game 4-3 in Spain. Yeah, he did. He did beat Barcelona as manager of Real Sociedad, which is unbelievable. Really, I'm surprised he didn't go there and play for the 0-0.
But he did. It's just his defense was crap.
Scored 4. I don't know. I don't fear Lyon. I think the semi-finals. It's hard to me. It's just a little prediction game, a bit of fun, really, because we don't know if injuries are going to be there. Bowen and Soufal may be back after the international break. They may not be. Also, we're not too sure. But all things considered, I think we've got the hardest route. I think we're on the hardest half with Lyon, and then the winners of Barcelona, Frankfurt. Whereas on the other side, I think it's more winnable fixtures over there. I think we might go out of the semi-final. This is just a wild prediction. I think we may get caught out in the semi-final. Because if you do come up against Barcelona, it's a big team, big experienced players as well. And at the end of last season, fatigue did catch us up, and we've got a very similar size squad again this season with more games. That can't be a good combination going into it. But anyway, Lyon next Thursday. Looking forward to it. Right, we're going to rock on to some other things. Then we'll get some questions put in. There was rumours, Gonzo, that Declan Rice was going to captain England tonight. Now, he's starting for England tonight, but not the skipper. Okay. However, Gareth Southgate has spoken about him being a potential captain for England in the future. While perhaps unsurprising, as a West Ham fan, we're going to sit here and say, well, we knew this was going to happen. But to hear the actual England manager come out and publicly say it, it's a ringing endorsement.
Yeah, but I don't feel he is blessed with options. It's a hell of a thing, leadership, and you've only got to look at Eddie Howe's recruitment of Kieran Trippier to hear. I mean, he scored a couple of good goals from a couple of. One of them was deflected. Whatever. He scored a couple of goals, and his performance was good. But what you hear talked about was how loud he is in the dressing room, how he's cajoling everybody, how he's just influencing the rest of the team, and for it to be spoken about that much makes it a real tangible element to the whole squad dynamic there. When I look at England have got a captain in there. You always know when there's no real massive leaders around, because the manager will say, "Oh, we're going to choose him because he leads by example." What in essence they're saying is he's quite quiet, but he's our best player. David Beckham being captain would be the case in point there. There was no leadership qualities in him at all. He's quiet. He's softly spoken. He is not someone that you would make captain of a platoon or something. You wouldn't. He's not a rousing giver of speeches or anything like that. And that's really what you need. And funny enough, I can't remember why I was talking about Roy Keane actually the other day, as I have a tendency to do, because it's a hell of a thing. And when you have small margins in sport, it's a hell of a thing if you have a leader who can, in a team game, who can dominate a team game and get more out of those around him. So it's a hell of something. So what you're relying on when you say he leads by example is other players looking at this supreme player, if you like, and we'll use Harry Kane's example for England, saying, okay, well, he's not that noisy, he's not that loud, but Harry Kane's standard is so good, I'm going to lift my level to match him. Well, that sort of relies on everybody having the attitude to do that. Actually, what you want is a captain making sure everybody's doing their job and actually giving out the manager's instructions on the pitch, telling people where to stand, noticing when someone's head's dropping, giving someone some encouraging words where needed, giving someone a rollicking where it's needed and stuff like that. And I don't think England are massively blessed with characters in there. And I always impressed when I see one. And Declan Rice is certainly has leadership qualities and real strength of mind and strength of character. So I'm not surprised at all, Gio.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it felt inevitable, but I didn't think it would come this soon, if I'm honest with you, because England do have a lot of captains that are captains at the clubs. Obviously, Harry Kane's a captain. He's not the captain of Spurs, but then you've got in defence, you've got the likes of Tyrone Mings, you've got Connor Cody in there, and you've got Jordan Henderson in midfield. So Southgate's got a lot of people that are captain week in, week out. And Declan is, and I say the word only loosely here, he's only the vice captain at West Ham. He's not the club captain yet. Skipper tonight for England, by the way, is Raheem Sterling, who rarely gets it for Man City, I imagine. It backs up what you're saying, that it's a case of, well, this guy's world class on his day off, for England he's world class. He's a captain, play like him, and we'll be all right kind of thing. But to hear Southgate say Rice isn't far off is I think it's a good thing for West Ham. Arguably, it justifies our £150 million price tag. If Raheem Sterling could please get subbed off tonight at half time and Declan Rice stays on the pitch for another 15 minutes and he gets the armband for that 15 minutes, West Ham can now say, well, you've got the future England captain here. 150 million for the future England captain. You've heard what Gareth Southgate said. That's the price for him. I think it almost justifies our price tag to some extent. And I think it's also good for Declan Rice. It's Gareth Southgate's way of saying, I don't care what club we play for. I'm picking you because of who you are. You're getting the armband because of what you are. I don't give a crap what colours you wear on a Saturday afternoon in the Premier League. You're doing the job. So I think it's good news for Declan. I think it's good news for West Ham, actually, that he's been publicly spoken about by Gareth Southgate. Now, moving on to another centre midfielder, though, Connor Coventry. West Ham got a bit of a big decision to make with him in the summer because obviously he's on loan at the minute at MK Dons. Comes back. If we keep him, he's got to be registered, takes up a squad place. However, he is homegrown, which we're going to need because the likes of Ryan Fredericks is departing, possibly. So we're going to need homegrown players. But he's ripping it up at MK Dons. MK Dons at the minute are the most informed team in English football. He's at the heartbeat of it. Played for the Ireland under-21s in the last couple of games. I think I could be wrong, he's one game away from breaking a record now. The most appearances for Ireland under-21s or something. I think he's got one more game to do. Played again tonight, captain. And by the sound of it, man of match, smashed it. What's your hopes for Connor Coventry? Are you hoping that's sort of like Mark Noble's replacement to some extent, the third or fourth choice centre midfielder next season?
That would be great. That would be great. Fourth choice central midfielder would be fantastic because I'd like us to bring one more in. The captain thing is interesting based on what we've just said, so that's good as well. Obviously, he's a local lad. He is local. I think it's his parents that are Irish, if I'm not much mistaken. So I mean, again, that is good. He's come through the academy. Nothing wrong with buying a player if you bought him from. Where did Seamus Coleman come from? Seamus Coleman was bought from for almost next to nothing by David Moyes from an Irish club. Name escapes me. Tommy's in the chat. I'm sure he'll let us know. There's nothing wrong with that, but obviously it's better for the team if the player has come through your academy. I also think it'd be really good for the academy as well if next season that we were able to say, you've got Declan Rice there, you've got Johnson, and also you'd sort of hope that possibly Harrison Ashby wouldn't be a named member of the squad because he wouldn't need to be because he would fall under the age bracket. But you had Coventry there as well. I just think it'd be really, really good. When somebody said the other day that there were 3 West Ham academy graduates on the pitch. Of course, technically you were right, but I was loath to include Noble in it because he's almost as old as me. And but it's right. Technically, it's right. But the reason you would say those words would be to give the impression that your academy is flourishing. It's very hard to use a 50-year-old as evidence that your academy is currently producing good players, isn't it? So, but yeah, I hope Moyes gives him another chance. I hope part of Moyes' success, and the reason he's successful is because he's stubborn. I hope he's not so stubborn that he's not able to change his mind on this one, because I heard he thought Coventry was championship standard at best. Sligo Rovers.
Yeah, that's what Irish Tom was saying about Seamus Coleman. Roger is saying Conor Coventry needs to do it in the Championship first. I don't think he can go on performances on League One or under 21 level. Why did we screw up and loan him to Peterborough in the first place? See, that was a disaster of a loan move, sending Peterborough, because all the Peterborough fans said, he's not a bad player, he just doesn't suit us. We do not play football for that type of midfielder. That's a ball-playing centre midfielder you've given us, and we belt it from the top, from the back to the front and bypass the midfield. Why we got somebody in there? We need a battler in there, not someone like Conor Coventry.
Well, I can tell you why. We all know why. It's because the owner's relationship with Barry Fry.
Yeah, but that's why it was a disaster, and it's unfair on Conor Coventry. But I think we've got a big decision to make with him, because I think to some extent, while you're saying about it proves the success of the academy, I think that's right. I think we also almost need proof of loan moves for youngsters as well, because there's two young players in the squad at the minute, Declan Rice and Benrahma, they haven't been out on loan. They've just come straight from the academy through the youth team at West Ham, gone into the first team. There's nobody that's come through the academy. We've sent out on 2 or 3 loans, then taken them back, and they're ready for the first team, and away they go. If anything, it looks like the loan moves just don't work, that we put them out on loan to the wrong clubs or whatever, or the coaching's not good enough at that club, and then when they come back, it hinders their development and they can't get into a team. Now, there is the flip side of that, which is the argument people would say is, well, who would be loaned out and then let go, and they've gone on to do well, so we've made an error. Well, we haven't. But I still always believe that sometimes you're better off staying at West Ham because your coaching's better, your physios are better, your nutritionist is better, where you go to a League Two club where training's a bit less, the type of football's a little bit different. You almost get the impression you go down to League Two to almost bulk up a little bit to get used to the hustle and bustle of man's football before you return to the Premier League. And we need to start having a bit more success with loaning players out at younger age level to these clubs, take them back and use it as a springboard into the first team, rather than they're almost as either window shopping or just to kick the can down the road when making difficult decisions, like Nathan Holland, for example. Still, technically, he's still a West Ham United player. I think he's just out on loan at the minute. But that's a player who we've just kicked the can down the road with him. We've almost like been afraid to say, you're not going to make it at West Ham, we're just going to move you on, kind of thing. And it just, the guy's 23 years old or something. He's going to have a good career at League One football in England. There's nothing wrong with that. But this was a decision West Ham probably could have made a couple of years ago. And that is one example. Thank you, Roger. Yeah. Cullen's bossing it at Anderlecht, absolutely bossing it and doing really well.
Captain as well, I believe. Captain as well.
Vincent Kompany's captain.
Manager.
Is Kompany still manager? He was when I last looked anyway. Vincent Kompany was manager. That's why I was thinking Kompany makes you manager, makes you captain. This is a really good Premier League captain that says, I see qualities of me in you. You're going to lead my team, kind of thing. So happy days. Right. Next up, Gonzo. I did a big interview earlier.
You did. You really did.
Did a really big
interview.
So we're going to do a little bit of a forum channel video about it tomorrow. Then the interview will go up tomorrow night. But the reason I mention it is because you can sponsor it if you want. I did an interview with Fabrizio Romano, the guru of transfer news, not transfer rumors, transfer news. Gonzo once asked me, who is he? I don't keep an eye on social media, even though he's got 7 million followers on Twitter and 6.9 million on Instagram.
Not me.
Fabrizio Romano. No, not you. You've got about 5.5 million.
Yeah.
Damn good looks of yours, isn't it? So anyway, I did an interview with Fabrizio Romano. That's going up tomorrow night. If you wish to sponsor it, email us hammerschat@gmail.com. We'll have a little chat because there was a fee involved. So we're trying to recoup as much of that fee as possible. I always say, to summarize Fabrizio, for those who don't know, he's never first with the news, but he's always accurate. He puts being right over being first, whereas I think a lot of journalists try and put being first over being right, if that makes sense. So his success rate's really high, but in terms of being first to the news, not really. Other journalists will break it before him, but when he says, as Iris is saying, here we go, that's his saying. When there's a deal done, his tagline is, here we go, and then he says what the deal is. It's usually done. So email us if you want, and tomorrow night the interview will go up. Now, speaking of transfer rumors, ridiculous ones, I saw a really ridiculous one today.
Did you give out the email address then?
hammerschat@gmail.com. Yeah, I did.
Yes, sir. Sorry, carry on. What ridiculous thing did you see today?
Zinchenko for 40 million.
Oh, that's too much money.
It's double too much.
Yeah, he's all right. I mean, he's not bad. He's
Just
probably a good player
to
for us.
clarify, about to say, just to clarify, the rumor was linking him to West Ham for 40 million. Not that City are going to sell him for 40 million. West Ham are going to buy him for 40 million.
Oh no, we're not. Not a chance. Not a chance. Right, Andy, think this might be one of your sneaky ones.
I've not done any sneaky ones.
It's not Geo's fault. This one.
I've not done any
he's got Fabrizio Romano in on the old fake rumours gig.
Do that.
You know what I mean? Here we go.
Yeah. West Ham for that lot. But yeah, I mean, he's a good left back. Would I have him at West Ham? Of course I would. But A, he's not worth 40 million. B, West Ham are just never spending 40 million on a left back or a right back or anything like that. We're just not. The only position we will spend that much money on is an attacker. That's it. We will not spend 40 million elsewhere in the team.
C? C? You said A and B. What's C?
Not sure yet.
I'm looking for 26 reasons why we're not going to do it here, to be honest with you. You started with the alphabet.
He looks too much like Kevin De Bruyne.
He does, but just not as good.
It's like a Wish.com version. If you order De Bruyne on Wish.com, that's what you get.
Oh, don't. Was it Groupon? Oh, anyway,
yeah,
Welcher.
Welcher.
It was Welcher. Oh, don't get me started. You didn't. I got myself started. Anyway, there you go. No, too much money. Far too much money. Got
yourself scammed. Anyway, good news. Ogbonna himself has put up footage of himself back in training. That's good news, Gonzo. It's the right time for him to come back in training as well. International break. Plenty of.
Was he swimming? Was he swimming? Or it was in a hydrotherapy, an aquatic centre, as we like to, as we often call it.
No, he wasn't in there because there was a gas leak there. He wasn't. He better not have been in there.
What, in the Stratford one?
Yeah, it got shut last week.
I would have got it. It'd be like a jacuzzi with all the gas pumping through it.
No, I believe it. How did you not see it? They had to shut it down and evacuate the whole park. I believe.
Well, I wasn't there. What do you mean I did not see it? I would walk past it.
I believe there was a mix-up with the order. Instead of delivering like chlorine for the water, they delivered chlorine gas or something.
Oh, brilliant.
So then there was a gas leak. So people were being sick while swimming. That's
nice.
it, chlorine leak. So yeah. Ogbonna was not swimming there.
No, good. He's injured again. Poisoned.
Safer in the canal.
Ogbonna was in the bath, according to Andy, or whatever. It's good. Whether he's in a over-toxinated, a gas-infused swimming pool, the hydrotherapy suite at the West Ham training ground. Listen to me. Like West Ham have got a hydrotherapy suite at a training ground. Yeah, right. Or the bath. It's good to have him back in training. And to see him hopefully back before the end of the season, I do think is massive. I was worried that we wouldn't see him again. Is he going to get back in time to help us over the line? I'm not so sure. I'm not even sure that Moyes would swap it up between now and the end of the season, but it does mean he's back for next season.
It also means Moyes can make a decision on whether to give him a new contract or not. My worry was he wouldn't come back till the summer. By then, we've already given him a new deal. Then we've discovered actually this injury is really bad. He's never going to play football again, or it's going to take a year to get him back or something. However, with him back now, it gives West Ham a couple of months actually to assess the injury, to see how he's getting on with his rehab before they actually give him the contract. I'm aware what the club have sort of unofficially said, which is we will give him a new deal anyway. I think that's all good and well, but still think they would like that little bit on there which says actually no, you can't. We're not giving you that new deal. So I think that gives them the option to have a little look at him before he signs on the dotted line.
Yeah. What would you do? How long would you give him? 1 year?
I'd give him one. I wouldn't give him more than a year. We're in a privileged position here where A, things are going well for West Ham. B, he's at home. You know, he's been here. When did he join? Summer 2015, I think he joined. So he's now been at West Ham for 7 years. This is now home to him. So I don't think we should be under any stress or that to give him more than 1 year. And I think if it goes well next year, we can give him another year if we wanted to. But there's no need to give him more than 12 months.
No, I'd agree. I'd agree with that. And I'm sure he'd appreciate that as well. And if we're looking at another centre-back, and we know we're looking at another centre-back, He's got a decision. He's got a decision to make. But I'd to laugh at this talk of Diop offering Diop a new deal. Diop was not be signing any deal at West Ham. I can assure you of that, because he's not wanted. It's as simple as that. Well, he's possibly wanted around. I'm saying he's disruptive or anything like that. The club are probably more than happy to seal their asset and tie him down, have him around the club, but he's not wanted in terms of playing regularly in the first team. He's just not, so he'll just leave.
Right, a couple more things before we do the questions. Happy Hammerette stuffing her face on Doritos. What flavour of Doritos are you hoping she's eaten? Maybe the cheesy ones.
I don't like the Dorito. All right. I do like a tortilla chip. As a Dorito is a tortilla chip, but I find them quite bland. Now, I like they used to do them, right? Marks and Spencer's used to do this big bag. If Nick's watching this, he'll know, because when we last went to the game, or actually the game before, and I'd had a couple of beers, I insisted on going in Waterloo Station to go and get those things. Jalapeno tortilla chips. Oh, they were lovely. Absolutely lovely. But they stopped doing them, which I was quite annoyed about. But they've got a new hot chili. Maybe it's a Scotch bonnet or something like that. That does the job. Very nice. What about you?
Anyway,
what Dorito do you like?
Cheesy ones, but I quite like I think we've got them for tea one night this week, actually. We get the cool ones, and then we'll make like a chili con carne and pop it on top of the Doritos, bit of cheese under the grill.
I like
10 minutes or whatever. It's just a simple tea to have. So if she's working in the evening or something, either I've got to cook or we're having chili con carne Doritos.
Well, happy Hammerette's working in the evening.
No, Mrs. Geo, just for clarity, Mrs. Geo.
Sorry.
Anyway, bad news though, possibly. Benrahma got called up. Did you see that? Algeria decided to call him up today to play tonight. I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of international break friendly wise, right? But I think I don't like any of this last minute calls, especially for a player. The manager knows you're not going to discover anything by calling up Benrahma. It's not the same as, say, England, if they had an injury and then Gareth Southgate might think, well, actually, I'll call up this youngster that I've not really had a look at or whatever like that. This is completely different. I just think, why have you called them up? What's the point? But
where's the camp? Where's he been called up to? What's the location of the camp?
I was just about to play my own devil's advocate. They're playing World Cup qualifiers tonight, aren't they?
Okay.
Because Senegal's playing Egypt in the second leg of the World Cup qualifier.
I wonder if when he got the call that Benrahma said, I can, but I ain't got time to go to hairdressers, so you're gonna have to take blonde Benrahma, basically. Or like it or lump it.
Yeah, imagine they had. Yeah, James was saying they're playing the World Cup qualifiers. I forgot they were playing the qualifiers, actually. My bad. Maybe I understand why he's called Benrahma up now, but not good news for West Ham. Right, live chat. If you've got any questions, get them in. And while you're preparing them, I'm going to switch over to social media questions that we got before the show. Just quickly, you've heard of Alice on Wonderland. We just want to say a quick well done to Alice on Instagram. Alice runs the Hammers Chat Instagram over there. And in the last month or so, she's really grown the account. She's got 5,000 followers now, but there was a post she did the other day. It got over 15,000 likes, got like 120,000 impressions. So she's really happy with her work over there. As are we. So if you're on Instagram, you're not following Hammers Chat, links in description. Just click it. I don't know how it works, but just follow Hammers Chat on Instagram and show Alice some love, will you? Because she's.
And that's why Alice does it, because we don't know how it works, and she's done a remarkable job.
Pretty much. Me and Gonzo are too old for it, so we just gave it to Alice a couple of years ago, and she does all the work over there. Me and Gonzo have absolutely nothing to do with it. It's her little baby, so go and support us and Alice on Instagram if you don't mind. All right, before we take the live chat, Andy Wall says, given Reese Oxford's playing regularly, would you take him back?
No.
Would you not?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, because it was Moyes that wanted him out. I wouldn't do anything to upset that squad dynamic. There was. I don't think he did anything majorly wrong, but he wasn't part of that group. He just wasn't part of it. Moyes wanted to get rid of him. And this is I think it's an actual tangible facet to something that's around the squad, and we saw it. I think so many games this season, it's been our squad and our spirit and that sort of brotherhood and camaraderie that's pulled the players through. And that's one thing I do trust David Moyes on. I think he gets it wrong sometimes with tactics, with substitutions, and he's too slow to bring players in. But one thing I do trust his judgment on is whether he works with a group of players every day. Also, we spoke about captains earlier. His backroom team are full of leaders, right? So I really trust him on, forget football for a second, in getting a group of 20 or 30 people together that get on with each other. And that ain't easy, because you put 20 people together, there'll be 2 or 3 people that don't like each other in any group anywhere. There'll always be something niggly that happens. It ain't an easy thing to do. And it's one thing I do trust him on, actually. And if he feels, and there was clearly so it wasn't right there before, could be a brilliant player, but if his face don't fit, it wouldn't come over, it wouldn't work, and he wouldn't play him. And we'd just be a load of people saying, oh, why isn't Reese Oxford getting in the team? He wouldn't get in the team. It's pointless.
No, I want him. You thought I was ready to say I completely agree. No, I completely disagree. I would love to see him back at West Ham. I think part of the reason is because of what Andy has seen. I know Andy's seen what I've seen. He's done a couple of interviews in the last few days for whatever reason, Reese Oxford, because he's speaking of his ambition to go and play for England. He wants back in the England team. And obviously he's doing really well over in Germany, and he's speaking about breaking through at West Ham, and he was basically saying that people forgot how old he was. He said he was training from the first team since the age of like 14, so that it caused issues with him. He said his muscles couldn't develop because he didn't get to do gym work. He went straight into the first team. Other people his age were in the gym bulking up, and he said he never had that. He was training with the first team and whatnot, and that sort of, there was just a lot of pressure on him. And I think he comes across really well in the interviews, actually. And I hated the fact that he left West Ham. I just felt like we gave up too easily on him. We had a young man, and we didn't really, you speak about management, putting your arm around a player and stuff like that, like what Southgate does. And I would have liked to have seen that with Oxford a little bit. He obviously had his troubles, and this story come out about his watch being pinched, and I thought that was horrible.
Not him as well.
Yeah, remember he got his watch pinched. I mean, this is where I think someone at West Ham should be thinking, who was working on the day Reese Oxford's watch went missing and Jesse Lingard's watch? Who was still at the club on both occasions?
You know what I would do? I'd go around West Ham all the time and just keep on walking past saying, anyone got the time? And just at some point you walk past someone, I have, and he'll pull his wrist up and he'll have about 4 watches. Don't! You.
But anyway, back to Reese Oxford. 23 years old, playing really good football in Germany at the minute. Most appearances this season for Augsburg in Bundesliga. By all means, I don't watch Bundesliga anymore. By all means, still, he's having a really good season for them. And he says that he wants to come back to England at some point. So he obviously says that he enjoys Germany, he's getting on well, he's starting to learn the language and stuff, but England's his home and he wants to come back at some point in the future. Would I take him back at West Ham? Yeah, I think so. I would almost see it as a big loan. Obviously, it's going to cost us a lot of money, but I think we done wrong by him, because when we first loaned him out to that really long name, how do you say Mönchengladbach?
Mönchengladbach.
That one, the one with more consonants and vowels. We loaned him out. Moyes came in. We took him back.
Yeah.
And went, nah, loan him back out. He just got into the team. We took him back, and then we sent him out again. He couldn't get back into the team. And it was almost like, come on, what more do you want me to do? And I felt we done wrong by him on more than one occasion. We did not do enough for Reese Oxford. We obviously then gone back out to Augsburg. Took him a little while to get into the team. Obviously, he was out there. When you read the article, you realise things. He would have been 21 at the time when COVID came around, 21 years old in Germany by himself, couldn't speak German, couldn't cook. All of a sudden, he's there on his own in lockdown, and he's having to learn to cook. He's having to learn to do shopping, learn German and whatever. It's a big test for a young lad, and I think he's done remarkably well, actually. I would love to see him come back at West Ham and be a success and fulfil the potential that we know he once had. He's not a bad footballer. I think bad decisions have been made both by West Ham and Reese Oxford, and it's led to bad situations and him leaving the club. But I would like to see us right those wrongs by taking him back and hopefully having a future with us. He's a big lad as well. He's dead tall, really good in the air. They call him, I can't remember, they've got a nickname from
the tall guy that can't cook.
No, they call him I think they call him Air Oxford or something because of how good he is. there, but I don't know
in
what
the
the
air,
German equivalent is of air
because he doesn't
Oxford.
walk on the ground.
No, he
floats.
doesn't. So
Yeah.
you're a no, I'm a yes. Right, let's take a few of
Well,
these
it's
as
not
we
about
go.
no. It's not about talent. I just think if he came back,
You
you'd
think he's a
have
bad boy?
You'd have the third round of frustration because you'd be saying, "Oh, he's not playing." I think if he came back, he wouldn't play.
Well, you don't know that. You don't know how good he is.
What? I just think Moyes wouldn't play him. I think that's my thing. Just Moyes wouldn't play him.
We'll see. Ben says, would you take Rashford over other targets if you knew he was available for a reasonable fee? He would be very tempted.
Depends who the other targets are, I guess.
I can't really disagree with what you've just said there. I'm going to say probably not. I think he would be a good signing for West Ham, but I think he'd be a very expensive signing for West Ham. And the question is, would he reflect value? Is Marcus Rashford worth 40 million? Is Marcus Rashford worth 150 grand a week? He probably is. But can we afford to spend a third of the budget on him? I'm not too sure. I think I want a more out-and-out striker for my money. I don't think he is an out-and-out number 9. I think he can play anywhere along the front three, which is handy. But we don't need those players. We need somebody that's a flipping striker. We need a number 9. We need a number 9. He could do a job there, but I don't want that could, maybe, what if. I don't want that aspect attached to this signing. I want an actual striker, someone that's going to come in, play up front, and we're going to get striker performances from him. I just think good player, but not the position we want. And I think it would be a signing of opportunity. Oh, Marcus Rashford's available. He's a good player. We'll get him. It's not necessarily a player we need. It's not necessarily we've targeted. It's just because we're going to take advantage of the situation. I don't have an issue with it. Lucas Digne is a perfect example. In January, take advantage of the situation at Everton. But I'm just not sure it'd be savvy for us with our budget, because I guess it depends on how much you think we've got to spend. And I know Moyes has said he's going to have a lot of money, he wants a lot of money, but I still don't see us spending north of 100 million. Even if we go up to 120, Rashford's still going to hoover up a third of the budget on his own. I just don't think that's good value.
No, but I mean, Manchester United have got a real tricky one here. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in the same situation they were with Lingard. They can bang on about getting 75 million or whatever the price was all they like. Come the start of next season, he's got a year left on his contract, but they've all got something that they need to do on that one. And someone did a video about what was about Lingard and Rashford earlier, and somebody said to me, excuse me, I can't remember, someone said on there, but Rashford's wages would be too much for us. Well, Rashford is going to, okay, Man United are going to have to accept they're not going to get the money that they want for Rashford because he's not as good as they think he is. Everybody else around Manchester United are going to have to accept that Marcus Rashford is not competing with Mbappe to see who's the brightest young talent in world football. That ship has sailed. And Marcus Rashford is going to have to appreciate that he's probably already had his highest pay packet that he's going to have in football. He's now got to decide whether he wants to play football full-time, which is basically what Lingard's decided he wants to do, and how important getting back into the England team is. If he decides that, it's Man City and Chelsea are not going to buy him. Liverpool are not going to buy him. So he's going to go to a club that are probably a Europa League standard club. If he goes to one of those clubs, they're not going to pay him 200-300 grand a week. So he's going to have to earn less. But basically, I think there's a lot of people are going to have to take an unsugar-coated pill in this little situation here, because he's been elevated by Manchester United and by himself and by the whole social media stuff. I just think, and I thought that sometime he just needs to get back to playing football. It'd be really, really good for him.
Ian at IanLat82 said, would you take Declan Rice this summer or keep him at the club and run his contract down so he goes on a free and we don't get any money for him? Now, this is an argument that your friend Cannington Len put up, saying we didn't pay anything for him. We got him for free. He'll leave for free. But we have a world-class player in our hands, and we've got another 3 years of this world-class player. So Ian said, would you sell him or would you let his contract run out?
Well, I said this a couple of weeks ago on the forum channels. I don't see any problem with either one. I just don't want to be panicked by it. If that scenario plays out, then what it gives us is 3 years to build a team around him. Now, if he then goes, that's fine. It's not like building a team around one player, you can't get another one, right? What you do is you know you've got a world-class midfielder. That gives Moyes 3 years to build the team that he wants. If at that point he then goes, then fine, we'll just use that year's budget, which hopefully we should have elevated ourselves to that position, and go and replace him with a player. But for a club like West Ham, having a world-class player for 3 years is a hell of a long time. I mean, we can do an awful lot in that if he's supplemented by it. I'm also not confident that we spend money well, by the way. Look at, I mean, it might go well. We might get a Bowen, we might get a Vlasic. You just don't know, do you? You don't know how we're going to spend the money. I don't think here's what I would do. Here's my choice. If he's definitely not going to sign, if he's definitely not going to sign a new deal, I'd keep him for the next 2 years. And I'd sell him in the final year. You ain't going to get you 120 million, but I tell you what I might do is keep a world-class player for 2 years and get 70 million for him.
Yeah, it's a win-win, really, isn't it? Either you get loads of money, or you keep a world-class player for a little bit. It's difficult. I can see why people would say sell him, and why some people would say keep him, and I can't really disagree with either camp. I think it comes down to how prepared are we for selling him. If Moyes was to somehow come on our channel and say, oh, you two boys, I'm going to show you who we're going to go get here. These are the 3 players I'm going to go sign down. If it was 3 players I thoroughly liked and thought that would improve us like that, I'd say yes, please. But if there were 3 players like Marcus Rashford and a couple of others, I think I'll just keep Declan Rice, please. Thank you very much, Dave. If that's your plan for spending the money, it depends what we would do with the money. It's a difficult one because we're never really going to. I remember when Redknapp sold, like when West Ham sold Rio Ferdinand, part of the reason was we're not going to have another player like this again that's worth this much money, so we're going to sell him, cash in, and use the money to do the squad up. Yes, I'm going to sell him and earn a little bit of cash out of this. When am I ever going to have this opportunity again? I mean, West Ham. When are West Ham ever going? Yeah. So it's a bit like that. When are we ever going to be able to sell a player for over 100 million again? Probably, I don't know, years to come. Maybe we might get extremely lucky somewhere. I don't know. If I was Moyes, though, I would sell him, because I would back myself to replace Declan Rice and upgrade the team elsewhere. I would back myself as a manager, and I'd back Rob Newman and say he knows who to go get. So I think that's what I would do if I was Moyes. But I'm not. I'm a West Ham fan, so you can do what you want, really.
It's an unbelievable scenario. You are not David Moyes, and he hasn't popped onto Hammer's chat to ask us our opinion, unfortunately.
Not yet. Doug says, would you take 20 million for Vlasic? If not, what amount would you take?
We've not even paid 20 million for Vlasic. I mean, I think we've made a down payment of 10 million. I'd rip your arm off. I'd rip your arm off for 20 million.
Would you take 12 million with 8 million of add-ons then? Similar to the deal that we've done.
Definitely. But we're never going to pay the 28 for him because he's never going to play the amount of games. So I reckon we'll end up paying 21 million for Vlasic. It's a guess, but I reckon we will. So yeah, I'd cut your losses and think, okay, that was a bad experiment. It's only cost us $1 million. Definitely.
Yeah, I would too. Lawrence, red or brown sauce on your fry-up? Lawrence must be new here because you don't ask Gonzo about sauce.
No.
My answer is the same as it has been all the time. Red, because I've never tried brown sauce. I just don't like the idea of the concept. It's named after a color. My head says you can't do that. It's not. Yeah. And I know he says red sauce, but it's tomato sauce, isn't it? That's named after the taste. Brown sauce. What is brown? Brown is not a flavor. It's a color. And my mind just says, no, I'm not having that. Coca-Cola.
For me, no, thank you, Lawrence. I'm saucy enough.
It's not. Yeah, that's why you got 5 million followers on social media.
That's right. Yeah.
Chris says, "What's the player would be your realistic number 1 through the door in the summer?"
Oh, I like that. I like that. You choose first. I don't like it that much. Can't think of it.
Either Broha or Conor Gallagher.
Oh, I like that. I will nick Broja as well. I'll nick him. I saw someone that looked just like him today on the school run, funny enough. Big lad as well, big fella. I thought, is it? Nah, probably not. What a chance of him having somebody at the same school as my kids. Very slim.
Well, but I'd be impressed because how old is your child?
This one is 8.
Yeah, he's 20 years old.
Dirty bugger.
It would be impressive if he fathered someone at the age of 12.
I said that's filth. I was playing with Lego and stuff at that age. I can't believe he had it in him. Unbelievable.
Adam Brown says, given our track record of January window making very late moves for players, do you think this will happen again in the summer, or will we get business done early?
Well, I don't know what we'll do, but there's only one. Let's imagine, for instance, it's either incompetence or a tactic. All right. If it's incompetence, you've got to hope they get better at it. All right. If it's a tactic, you have to say when they're having the new expanded board and committee meeting, somebody have to turn around and say the old transfer deadline day tactic. Are we going to revise that this season? Because it doesn't really work. Last time, did it? So I would hope that they won't do it.
It's hard to have confidence though because of the track record. It's not just January; it's going beyond that as well. You know, he's literally nicknamed Dithering Dave. You know, that's his nickname from Everton fans who had him for 10 years. So it's difficult to sit here and say, yeah, I'm confident. The only shining light is that if we are going to go after Tarkowski, Lingard, well, we're going to have to move quick. We're going to have to move. I don't know legally when English clubs can make the move for these players. I don't know if it's the 1st of June when the contract expires at the end of June, or if they've got to wait until the 1st of July. But they've got to be done like that. You know, 1st of July, Lingard's out of contract. We've got to have him signed up by the 2nd of July if we want him. And the same goes for Tarkowski. So if we're actually serious about getting one of the 2 players that are out of contract, we have to move there and then. As for the big money one, I'll be honest with you, I am nervous. I'm really nervous. We've got a question. It was a bit tongue in cheek. It said, are you confident we'll actually get a striker this summer? And, you know, we'll answer the rest of the questions in the forum video, but I'm not, because Moyes himself has said we've spent 2 years looking for one. So if we've not found one in 2 years, how can I be confident we're going to find one in 2.5 years? How is that extra half a year going to make it? I'm not that confident. And all these rumours linking us to like Rafinha and Calvin Phillips makes me a little bit worried. But we've still not identified a striker. So instead of splashing the cash on a striker we're not too sure on, we'll splash it on a midfielder that we are sure on, or a winger that we're sure on. And that makes me nervous. So if we still haven't decided on a striker come the opening of the transfer window, we ain't bidding for one straight away. We're going to drag our feet a little bit in. I don't know. I'm nervous for this summer's transfer window. Happy Hammerette says, would you rather Rooney take your nan out on a date or John Terry have your girlfriend's number?
Well, I don't have a nan or a girlfriend, so I'm quite safe with either, to be perfectly honest with you.
I think I'd pick Rooney with my nan because she's dead. He can take the corpse out if he wishes. It doesn't bother me. Says more about him than my nan.
I think he's already shown his hand on a few of his standards. Let's be fair.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. I think he's used his hand as well. Anyway, Tom Inskip says, if Vice leaves in the summer and Noble retires, who's your new pick for club captain?
Oh, Souček.
Would you?
Well, he's yeah, I think so. He talks, he directs.
No,
but he's not.
I think that would be the worst thing.
Really?
Because he's already undroppable. Moyes is already reluctant to drop him when he's knackered and out of form. Moyes still won't take him out of the team. You give him the armband, Moyes is going to be even more reluctant to take him out of the team. I think there's 2 players for me. There's a position in a player. The player's Aaron Creswell naturally, but the position is the centre back. And I say that because if Ogbonna was to come back and be like okay again, then probably Ogbonna. But if not, I'd be intrigued as to what Kurt Zuma's like as a leader. I'd like to go to somebody. I know this contradicts what I've just said about Creswell. with longevity in the team to some extent, but at the same time, there's no real obvious candidate, is there? There's no attacking player that would get it. Fornals, Bowen, Benrahma, Antonio.
Well, we got a lovely insight when the crowds weren't in there. We got a lovely insight, particularly once before the false crowd noise was put in. We got to hear what players were actually like, and I've said it a few times. I was really impressed. I didn't realise Ogbonna was as gobby as he was, so that really impressed me. I really liked that.
Right, just quickly, we'll start wrapping this up soon. Just thank you, Leo, for the $5. He says, how much money do you think we'll have in the summer? He's seen and heard multiple reports, but what's our predictions? What are you saying?
I think, thanks for that, mate. I think we could have about 100 million. I think Geo's when he said about 100 million, I think that's about right. And that's not including sales, not that we generate much unless we sold players we don't particularly want to sell. But don't forget, you can still do business with 100 million. There are a couple of really good freebies out there and loan signings as well. So, I'd say 100, 110 million.
Yeah, I think about... it depends, though, doesn't it? If we sign the striker, I think it'll be about 100 million. But if we don't sign the striker, I can see it being about 60, 70 million with the excuse given that we're keeping a bit back for the striker.
Yeah, brilliant.
Brilliant. I can see it. It's happened. It's happened for the last 2 or 3 transfer windows. It's like, well, we're waiting. We're keeping the money back. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Jordan's asking if we... do we break the transfer record in the summer?
Yes.
Just.
Yeah, it will be just. It'd be 50 million would do it, wouldn't it? Was it 45, 46, something like that?
Mid 40s for Sebastian. So yeah, bit about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we will.
We'll have to. I think we'll have to. I think we need to, because if you want that caliber of player, which we do, then you're going to have to spend big money on it. But I think it's also, you speak about Declan Rice and retaining Declan Rice, I think you have to show ambition. It's not always about money spent, but bearing in mind, we've been a bit tight in the last couple of windows. I think eventually you've got to spend big bucks to show Declan Rice that we are ambitious. And I don't just mean putting in these bids for the likes of Rafinha, which we know is going to get rejected. That's not ambition. That's just stupidity. But actually signing a player for big money is showing Declan Rice, hey, we're going to keep you here, world-class player, but we're going to add in somebody that's the next level down. We can't afford the world-class ones. We can't attract them. But who we can attract is the elite players. That's not far off the world-class ones. So that's what we'll do. Anyway, right, shall we leave it there, my friend?
Yeah, absolutely. We got a very interesting video coming up tomorrow, so don't miss it. Tomorrow night, Geo's interview with Fabrizio Romano, the only man who's got more Twitter followers than me, of course. That's going to be he's a couple of nice exclusives in there, Geo, right?
News, facts. But yes, there is something in there that I've not heard before. But also, myself and Gonzo are off to record the forum channel video tomorrow, which will be have a lot of the questions. We've got questions sent in on YouTube earlier. We've not touched them. We're going to deal with that in a separate video because we like to keep these to an hour long. But if you're interested in sponsoring the videos tomorrow night, email us hammerschat@gmail.com. But you've got to email us by lunchtime tomorrow so we can have a little discussion and whatnot. But if you enjoyed this cup of tea, drop a like on it, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Myself and Gonzo, we'll catch you in a bit.